Hey, Dr. Isaac Jones here, the founder of Health Experts Alliance, the global leader in virtual practice education. We've helped impact thousands and thousands of doctors, and now tens of thousands indirectly through them have been transformed. Actually, hundreds of thousands if you think about the blogs and all of the virtual insights and strategies that we've been able to share as a community. Today, we're going to get into how to avoid the medical practice commodity trap. This is a big problem that I'm seeing more and more. Doctors in the industry have become commoditized. There's a pricing race to the bottom, and a lot of doctors don't think that they can charge very much more than they're charging because, again, they become commoditized. So how do you end up becoming commoditized? How do you avoid playing the game of the rat race to the bottom of the pricing game, right? Like, I've met a doctor who, that's his game. Like, he's got one of the biggest medical practices because he essentially gives away Botox on the front end. He knows it's a loss leader. He'll get people in for Botox, but he upsells fillers and plastic surgery and things of that nature on the back end. And it's a game for him, right? It was a risk at first, but he commoditized the crap out of Botox, and he's just, scaled to over $100 million in revenue with his other, programs or other upsells. So there is a way that you can make it work at scale, but he's got offices all across America, and it's a big, big business, and it's a lot of infrastructure. Okay. So how do we prevent ourselves from getting into that? Maybe I shouldn't have started the video with that story because you're like, hey, how can I make $100 million? Trust me, there are a lot of people that have uncommoditized themselves that I've coached and trained that have broke $100 million that are in valuation, that are not playing that game, right? So essentially, you want to differentiate yourself. You want to be that person that differentiates yourself. When you're in a race to the bottom, you don't differentiate yourself, right? You're just trying to fight on price, and you have to have a huge network of practices, and you've got to have a lot of money in the bank to play that game that some of these other doctors that I know are playing. So, the challenge is there are a lot of doctors that are using this low price strategy because psychologically that's what they believe that they have to do. And then they essentially are just competing on factors that are essentially price versus quality and versus the systems and strategies and solutions and branding angle and marketing angle and sales angle. Like, it's all about price. So you want to, again, differentiate yourself on more than just price and on doing the same thing that everyone else is doing. Why should you care about avoiding this trap, even if essentially things are not as perhaps competitive in the area that you're in? The reality is you will become a commodity if you're not right now, if you don't start thinking differently. It's demoralizing to commoditize yourself, and a lot of us commoditize ourselves. There's no excitement around somebody that wants to see you just because you're the cheapest option in the community. It takes a lot of work, right? You have to grind out, and you have long hours. That's essentially what I did when I was first in practice. It was like, we're the cheapest, best option. We saw a ton of people, but we grinded. And I would even call up my doctor friends, be like, hey man, you grinding? And he's like, yeah, I'm grinding, bro. And we would just be laughing about how hard we're grinding, right? And we're making money, right? It's not like we're not making money, but we also don't have a life other than practice. So if you don't value your time, other people will not value your time. You yourself need to value your time because you are a reflection of, and the way that you think about your time reflects into your practice, and people will not take you as seriously, and it will create an impact on who you are as a doctor leading them get results. The other challenge about commoditizing yourself is that, again, unless you're playing that big scale game, like some of my friends are playing, you will not get ahead financially. You end up becoming the small fish in a big pond, and you just get eaten up. And I don't want that for you. So there are 3 key ways to avoid this. So number 1 is you want to start becoming in a state of awareness around how you're investing your time and how you're spending your time. What really matters, right? What matters to you? How do you want to spend your time? How do you want to invest your time? And you want to be thinking about that because when you start valuing your time more, then your team will start valuing your time more. Then the people that are working with you, you'll build systems in that will show them, right, that your time is very valuable. This is how I only worked 2 days per week with health participants, my word for patient, and scaled over 7 figures in my virtual practice because I had a value of my time. I built my business around my lifestyle and not my lifestyle around my business. I was working on my business more than I was working in my business. I was working on automating, scaling, and creating systems for me to be free from my virtual practice. And that's what I want for you ultimately as well. So the other thing is that you clearly articulate your brand, your values, and the differentiating factors. What makes you different? So I want you to check out the branding post that we came up with. It's an awesome post just on branding and how to differentiate yourself and how to make you so much better than everyone else in the industry. But this is huge. And then number 3 is just a deep knowledge of the solution of a specific problem. So when you become an expert and become the hero to a tribe, you end up becoming the expert in this deep knowledge or solution. Like I have a very deep knowledge of high performance healthcare and longevity, right? That's kind of like I'm in a mastermind. It's a $45,000 mastermind with some of the top longevity researchers and scientists. And I just sit there and I learn and I look at the science and the research and I experiment on myself, etc. But I've got a deep knowledge on that. And I know that the programs and the systems that people are investing tens of thousands of dollars, even into the 6 figures to be a part of, right? It's because of my ability to differentiate myself and I have not commoditized myself. People look at me as pretty much the only person that knows what I know in the way that I know it, right? This is a process that I talk about in depth in the Virtual Practice Accelerator, how to actually cultivate and create this in your own virtual practice and build this up so that you don't become a commodity and you become somebody that people look up to. And the other thing that can help you get out of the rat race of commoditizing yourself, this is really a game changer for you if you really want to scale and grow your time and your revenue at the same time, is to go virtual. This changes the game, right? You go from local to ultimately virtual, and it's amazing. We've had many medical doctors do this. We've had many DCs, NDs do this, PhDs, a lot of people, other health professionals do this. And it's amazing what people have done. We've got one doctor who's a medical doctor, who's a bariatric surgeon, and he just got sick and tired of bariatric surgery. So what he did was we bumped into each other. He's like, Isaac, you're doing everything that I want to do. So he joined our program. And essentially what he did was in the course of 1 year, he went from making just $200,000 and wasting a lot of money to profiting $800,000. He's now in the multi up. I think he's in the high 7s, perhaps even lower 8-figure range right now. But he did all of this by essentially learning from me and going virtual. Another individual, Dr. J Davidson, he ended up getting so transformed by this model that he was able to sell his brick and mortar. He made a good amount of money off of the brick and mortar, and then he moved to Puerto Rico with his family and is currently in Puerto Rico running his virtual practice, just living an amazing lifestyle. He's like, dude, I live a dream every day. It's so awesome. So that's what I want for you. And I know that ultimately you can create this because no matter where you're at, doctors that I've connected with have been there. I've had some people that are on the verge of financial bankruptcy. I've had some doctors that are just confused around technology. I've had some doctors that are just like, look, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. And you know what? When they catch the vision of being able to be anywhere in the world, to be virtual, or if they want their brick and mortar practices. Most of the people I coach and train still want their brick and mortar, but they want to have a hybrid brick and mortar virtual practice, which is the future of healthcare. They have that flexibility. They have more time. If they want to take a long weekend, they can take a long weekend. If they want to take calls and work with their patients from the lake house or from a vacation in Florida or California, they can do that. So ultimately, I want you to catch a vision for yourself, because this is possible. It is possible to be able to create this for yourself, and I believe in you. And ultimately, the conclusion of today's video is how to really of how to avoid the medical practice commodity trap is to not commoditize yourself on price. Differentiate yourself. And that's what we do and educate on in depth in the Virtual Practice Accelerator. We'd love for you to be a part of our community and be a part of that course. But if not, continue to stay plugged in to our HEA newsletter. We're going to continue to add a ton of value to you and create some amazing breakthroughs for you and help you upgrade your thinking around being a doctor who's an entrepreneur and a health professional that is going online. And we hope that this video has added a ton of value to you. Thanks so much. If there's anybody else that you think might need this or want this, please send it their way. Thanks so much. Have a great day.